also allows for creative interplay with other people at the event who are up to us, because then they can become part of the show as they're presenting their item and making a show of their own, and then we play off of that, and it kind of changes the dynamic of the community. And I love that kind of creative input, and that's what I think is a beautiful part of what is harnessed here, is that people want to this goes good there and that. And this is kind of a placement. We have the other games that we have placed out there. We have a couple circus platforms, some dice platforms almost for seating, and then we have a foosball table that was actually built last year at a different festival that has Barbies and G.I. Joes and superhero action figures as big ones, G.I. Joe size, as the players on the foosball table. So you can have people playing foosball with the ball. It's a really fun game. We built a skee ball on the other side, which uses a bunch of our other decor and some old room dividers and some doors, and has a toilet seat that you're trying to sort of like roll the golf ball into. And with that game, there's no real winner to that game. It's more of a infinite game. It's something that you continue to play to play. And those are honestly games that I like to try to, something that is self-actuated, that people do kind of play it in their own way, and that you create what I like to call a sandbox environment, in which you create very limited but firm rules, and then within that, people can do whatever they want. And that to me spurs creativity more than an open canvas or guiding someone to an area where you think will be creative. If you just create a firm but very loose, not loose, very firm but limited rules, and then allow people to do what they want to do inside of it, people will be the same or get one down.
I can personally tell you that last year my friends and I came into the forest and found a foosball table, and I have on video myself crying tears of laughter watching my friends play that game. It's just hilarious seeing the Barbies whip around and their hair, and I think isn't there a whole one there too?
There is, yeah. It's one of the goaltenders, yeah.
Yeah, the goaltenders are kind of like larger action figures, and it's just so much fun. Can you tell us about the wheel that you can spin? And does your team ever interact with that wheel, or is that also like a self-playing game for the forest family?
We've had it set up as kind of more of a self-actuating thing. We do kind of use our dare wheels as kind of a way to get people to do performance bits. The point of it is to kind of do something where the person is almost put on the spot, but with a light enough performance thing to do that they kind of coaxed into doing it. So one of our performers could do that and pull them up on the stage to do it, or if people just kind of free play with it, a group of friends can make people do whatever they want. They're usually a little bit more mild than at some other events that we can make them, but it's just because we want to kind of get people in the mindset for them to be performers and artists, because that's all the difference that it is between being someone who's enjoying the thing and someone who's performing it, is the will to do it. And so to give someone that kind of springboard, or at least like a jumping off point, is the best thing that fun this weekend. I just was over the trading post getting that trumpet that we want to praise. We also we've won some very weird dolls. What a bowling ball! I don't know how someone got that in here. And then have made people. I don't know. I think it's Sunday night, so we might make some people dunk their heads in the tank. It looks like they're really great.
I'm like cracking up listening to you tell all this, but also I'm sure it's picking up in the background all the excitement that is actually happening here. Everyone's cheering. You hear the squeaks of the ducks. You hear people on megaphones, and we're kind of behind in this kind of like staff lounge area behind.
It's quite a lounge.
Yes, very nice lounge. Very, very nice lounge. But it's just so much fun, hearing everyone how excited they are, and the crowd out there is massive as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so early in the night. But what were you talking about dunking people's heads?
Oh, well, I mean, maybe it possibly wasn't best to record that, but we have our water tank out there that's holding these ducks that have the numbers written on the bottom of them. So last year I know that there was at least 2 or 3 times where someone had as the, you can win this great thing, but if you lose, you have to dunk your head in this very dirty water tank.
Jeez, oh boy.
Yeah, so that might happen tonight. We're not sure. We also had someone actually bet a bag of their breast milk, and then we had people do shots of that breast milk. That was an interesting thing. A lot of different things like that happen around our table. People, when you give people creative license to try to, and you put up a flag and bring me the weirdest thing that you have, people really rise to the occasion to try to do it. Because unlike, I came into this working with the Grand Artique, and they do an amazing job training and guiding people to show them kind of what is actually of value and what is cool. But they're sometimes very sticklers on it has to be of sensible value. And to me, value goes in many different directions, and it goes also towards something like a non-numerical, can't be calculated by what you can buy in a store, silly and weird kind of value to it that sometimes can exist in old toys that someone has cobbled together and paired together to make something very interesting. I find the interesting and the weird and uniqueness of calibers that can't be really quantified, and those are honestly some of the coolest things that I've ever seen.
So is there a specific memory from this year or any year that stands out with the silliness and wackiness that you were talking about? Any stories that you want to share about Forest family coming to your table?
I've had an interesting time. We have these contracts where people can bet something if they're not something physical, necessarily like an esoteric idea or something of themselves that is a really tangible thing. And we have won countless times people's dignity or honor or birthday rights, which is always a really fun one. And we have in a past year won someone's birthday rights, and that's a very fun concept to kind of bring up to someone. What are the rights to your birthday? And if you lose, you don't get to celebrate it anymore, and only we get to. And no one's going to hold them to that, but I like to take my silliness very serious. And so if you win that, then you can all wear birthday hats, and it's our birthday now. And so we've done that in the past. But one of my favorite stories from at our table is I was sitting there, and this was before we had this whole